We begin with our first of three speakers from the City Club of Chicago. First, we hear from Hardik Bhatt, the Chief Information Officer for the state of Illinois, about the need for and the process of the state and private businesses cooperating to improve Illinois' technology systems. This runs about 30 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Trey. It was a very, very kind introduction, and dare I say that today marks 6 months in the job. I started March 30th, today is September 30th, and I would say with Cisco folks in the crowd, this probably was the best career decision I've made, coming back to the public sector. And thank you. And it is the most amount of fun, and this is kind of slightly absurd looking at all the challenges that we face, but this is the most amount of fun I've gotten in my career. So thank you, Trey. Thank you for your executive leadership, also Governor Linda Lengel, just having that executive sponsorship and executive support to get this humongous task over the line and getting it done is absolutely critical. So I wanted to quickly, as Trey talked about, walk you through the journey that I've been through. I've seamlessly moved between public sector, private sector. As Jay said, this is my 4th time back at the City Club. It's always fun to be back here. Jay, thank you very much for getting me back once again here. It's a fabulous, I would say, thinkers are in this room, the civic stakeholders of Chicago and Illinois that want to contribute back to the public service and make sure that we are the best, not in the country, but also globally. So last time I was here, I was with the city of Chicago, 5th year in the job, and then I went out to work for Cisco. And what I did there was, as Trey was mentioning, I led the global market development for smart cities and the Internet of Things. And I was fortunate to go around the globe, and I worked with cities like Barcelona, Rio de Janeiro, and others. I worked with city-states like Hamburg, Jakarta as a province in Indonesia, Dubai, and also countries like India, Germany, France, and all of them had pretty much, they are struggling with something and they want to apply technology to come out of that struggle and be the world leaders in something or the other. Hamburg, for example, wants to be the best port. They want perfect port logistics. They want to get the ship turned over quickly from the dock and get the cargo out of the yard, so that the dockyard, so they can get the next ship in. And their goal was to become the best and #1 port and overtake Rotterdam in Europe. So we took the technology, pretty much similar solution in Internet of Things and smart cities, but applied them for port logistics. And when you take that to Rio again, I was part of the Olympic team that competed against Rio from Chicago. And unfortunately we lost. Now I think fortunately probably we lost and they won. I did not hold a grudge against them, and then I worked with them very closely. And there the technology was more focused on how do we include the citizens of Rio de Janeiro in the democracy that the government is running. So it's about, because they were hosting 2014 FIFA World Cup and they were going to host the 2016 Olympics. And the general tendency or thinking in the citizens of Rio was that the government is focusing too much on the visitors as opposed to our own people. So the government wanted to focus on participative democracy, so we take the same solutions, apply them to Rio. And then you take the same things in all these different cities and states, and technology, underlying technology and the principles remain the same. Objectives also circle around creation of jobs, economic growth, and so on and so forth. The tactics are also around what gives us the best ROI, what gives us, what's the highest priority solution that we need to deploy, but the type of solution and the outcomes for that change. So when I got a call from the governor's office asking, would you be the CIO for the state of Illinois? To me, that was a defining moment when I remembered Steve Jobs and said, we are here to make a dent in the universe, otherwise why would we even here? And to me, there was a defining moment when I got that call. To me, I always value satisfaction I get in the job more than anything else. And to me, there could not be anything more satisfying than coming back and applying that global expertise, exposures that I had received through my previous job and applying them to Illinois to solve the toughest challenges that the governor has basically stepped out of his business comfort zone into the politics that he has come out for. So this is my opportunity to thank the governor for having Trey make that call and giving me this opportunity. So really, from the bottom of my heart, thank the Governor Rauner for giving this opportunity to me. But at the same time, it was not my decision, only my decision. That decision was obviously, as happens in all the households, it's her decision, Jagriti. That's how we keep peace and harmony in the world. So thank you for helping me make that decision. And obviously my parents, who Jay already acknowledged, thank you very much for being always there as the guiding force in everything that I've done, whatever smallest success I've achieved in my life. So thanks, Mom and Dad. And the last time I was here, my kids were small, 6th and the 2nd grade, so it was easier to influence them and get them out of school and get them here. They've grown up now, junior in high school, 11th grade, and 7th, so they make their own decisions. And they thought that, there's something more important to do in the day than come and listen to your speech. But I'll make sure that they listen to this afterwards when Jay gives me the video. But then also, last 6 months, the reason why the last 6 months have been so much fun is because state has a tremendous technology leadership team. So I want to acknowledge the team that has driven all the way from Springfield here. So if you could please stand up so you can be acknowledged, the technology leadership team from the state of Illinois. Mike. And we also have hired some of the great talent, either from other agencies or from outside. So the rest of the team that also works out of Chicago in the leadership group, if you can stand up and get acknowledged. Mike, Prasad, Kevin. Thank you. And a special acknowledgement to Kim. Tom Tyrell could not be here from CMS, but Kim's representing Tom. So Kim and Mike Basil, thank you very much for also being here. So it's basically the team that makes the leader look good. So most of the things that I'm going to tell you in the next 20 minutes is what these guys are actually making happen. So it's not, when we started, the vision that I've heard from the governor is he wants Illinois to be efficient, accessible, and competitive, most competitive across the universe. And for that, he has come to my CIO council meeting and has said this openly, is that he firmly believes that technology is the driver for this transformation. So it is our responsibility then to create a technology organization that is effective, efficient, nimble, and professional. So that's the vision that we started with to make sure that we are helping the governor, the transformation that he wants to make. But it was not easy. We inherited some huge challenges. And basically starting with, and this is probably more or less in every large organization that has stayed in business for decades. State of Illinois has slightly more challenges because how we have operated. We have technology investment that I have been able to find going back all the way up to 1974. Through all the way today. So we have basically invested in technology. We have never gotten out of this technology. We have never retired that technology, even though we have people who built this technology have either retired or ready to retire. So we have this huge 41 years of technology span that we are still managing. We also have all different variety of organizations that you can find: consolidated, non-consolidated, co-located, supported, managed. We have 86 siloed agencies, boards, authorities, commissions under just the executive branch. And the way it has been we have been operating for the last so many years is part of the infrastructure is consolidated, but all of the application is completely decentralized. So when somebody asks me, Hardik, define the state of Illinois technology organization, is it centralized or decentralized? My answer to that is confused. We don't know we are centralized, we don't know we are decentralized, depending on the conversation that we have with the agency. The day of the week, we define whether we belong, how do we serve them. And that reflects into our security vulnerabilities. I mean, we have, I'll not go into details, but we have issues as it comes to, because all of the application infrastructure is so separated, siloed. We have to manage that security, and we are fortunate to have Kirk Lahnbaum, who we could get from the Emergency Management Agency to become our Chief Information Security Officer. And Kirk's done fantastic over the last month, hit the ground running, and started making me sleep better at night. Thank you, Kirk. I know you're not sleeping anymore. What this has also done, because every dollar gets divided by 86 before it gets spent. So we have an out-of-balance cost structure. Indiana, just by comparison, is almost half the size, but if you compare not real dollars, but percentage-wise, Indiana their IT cost structure is almost 50% of Illinois. We spend almost 100% more than what Indiana spends on their technology. That also gets reflected in how much do they charge back to the customers' agencies. They almost charge almost half than what we charge our customers. So those IT customers, agencies that are sitting here, we are working on that. We are not going to be so close to Indiana, but we are making our way in that direction. What that also does is it gives us a very low competitive position. So transition team did some calculations and came up with the number. We spend about $830 million annually on technology, the state of Illinois, which puts us at number 5 in terms of the amount of money that gets spent by percentage of the total budget. We spend 2.4% of our total budget annually on technology. However, Digital States Survey that ranks the states in where they are in terms of digitization and how it is used for the customers, puts us in 2014, gives us a ranking of C+, which is bottom 25%. So we are in the top number 5 spending state in technology, but our outcome is we are in the bottom 25%. There's a huge gap. We need to do a lot to make sure that we fix it. So what we have to do, 9 months have already gone, but what we have to do is we have to make a journey of 45 years. 41 years have already passed. We have 4 years. We have to make that journey of 45 years in 4 years to make Illinois the best place to live, work, learn, and play. And we can do it. My team is so confident that we can do it. We've already started working on many of those things. So first thing we are doing is we have brought the private sector, we brought the business management philosophy into the government. So most of you are in private sector. You understand that you don't spend a dime, or you don't give your team a dime if they don't give you a business case. If they don't attach a return on investment on the investment that you're making, you're not going to get a dollar. I mean, Cisco knows that. I mean, I had a tough time getting any money out of the Cisco team when I was doing the IoT World Forum here. So what we are now doing in the state also is every investment that we are making going forward has to be associated with it is revenue growth, cost reduction, citizen benefit, or it is mandated by court decree or something like that. So we have started bringing those things in. As I said, we don't have much time. We have to make this 45 years journey in 4 years. So we are also moving very fast. I got used to thinking in terms of quarters. We have to produce something at the end of the quarter that will impact the shareholder value. So we brought that also in the state. The only difference that we made is because we don't have a lot of time, we shrunk that 90-day cycle to 75-day. So everything that we are doing, we are operating in 75-day cycle. And that means that we cannot wait until we are perfect. So what we have, the other principle that we have adopted is we are going to be roughly right. We are not going to wait to be perfect. We are roughly right. We go out there, we show it to the customer, get their feedback, update it, improve it, and put it back out there. We have only 20 cycles in a 4-year term of 75 days. So we need to start moving very, very fast and be very competitive. So we are going to take 3 steps to get this journey of 1974 to 2019. That's my 45-year journey. Step 1 is improving the business of IT. Now this is the fundamental thing, right? I mean, if I want to make a dent in how the state agencies use technology to serve the customers, I have to first fix my own house. So that's the fundamental thing that we are trying to do. And in that we have started multiple efforts, almost close to 60 initiatives that have either started or we are working on making sure that we have done that. So number one, transformation. All of this has the overarching thought of thinking as an enterprise, thinking as state of Illinois, not thinking as I am this agency, I'm that agency, I'm this bureau, I'm that bureau. When you work for a private sector organization, you don't say I am this business and I need my technology like this, I'm that business, I need my technology like that. So one of these things, one of the thoughts that we are instilling all the way from Governor and Trey and Linda is that we are thinking in terms of the enterprise as state of Illinois. And for that, one of the things that we have, big initiative that we have started, now this is something that, you know, if I say this today in 2015, you will feel like, really? So we have a big initiative called ERP. Who has not heard about ERP? Enterprise Resource Planning? Nobody. Everybody has heard about it. We don't have an ERP system at the state of Illinois. We are the only Big Ten state that does not have a unified ERP system. What we have is about 420 different applications and systems that manage our finances, not all of ours. Finances, procurement, HR, and everything else. And it sometimes takes more than how long it takes for a baby to born to hire somebody in the job. And that is because of this, the inefficiency that we have. So I came in and worked closely with Trey and identified that, you know, we are very close to getting all of the contracts for the ERP signed. We moved fast. July 13th, we kicked off a unified single instance ERP solution. You heard that from Comptroller Munger, who was here on September 16th, and she's a great partner with the governor making that happen. So we have our unified single ERP system, McKinsey being the program manager, Accenture and Deloitte being the SI, SAP being the software, and we are going to have our first pilot agencies going live in 12 months with unified financial system. In 36 months, thank you. In 36 months, the entire state is going to be on a unified financial system. And this is, again, and in about 4 to 5 years, SAP will be deployed for all of the functions: grants, procurement, cash management, HR, finance, and everything else. And probably Illinois would leapfrog and become the first state that has one single ERP instance across the enterprise, crossing the constitutional office boundaries. So we are late, but we are going to move fast and leave a lot of people behind. At the same time, I talked about 86 agencies. They are all siloed. So the other effort that we have started is that we need to bring all of them under one single technology entity. So that's another big transformational initiative that we have started. We are going to bring these entities into some kind of definable structure. So I no longer have to say we are confused. We have some kind of an organizational structure that we can name it, which is as much horizontal as possible, but also in business verticals that we can work on. We have started a lot of governance initiatives, EPMO, and many other stuff that most of the private sector people take for granted, but we are looking at program governance as well as prioritization of projects that we happen. And what we cannot measure, we cannot improve, right? We all know that what cannot be measured cannot be improved. So in the central IT organization, we have instituted what we call KPIs, the key performance indicators. How long does it take to put up a server? How long does it take to close those help desk tickets? We have instituted those KPIs for all of the services that the central IT department provides. And then every 2 months, the same leadership team that just got stood up to get acknowledged, they present their performance against those KPIs to the governor's office and the leadership across the state. So we have that also going in. We are trying to be as operationally efficient as possible. And lastly, but the most important thing in my perspective is collaboration. When you have 86 CIOs, you have a tremendous brain power. And instead of dividing that brain power by 86, if you combine them, you have a huge asset that you have. And what we have done is all of them have come together. We meet on a regular basis. We have formed 11 working groups exclusively membered by CIOs of these agencies, and they are working together under leadership of Mike Vance, our CTO, to define enterprise level business strategy for mobile, for cloud, for analytics, for innovation, for GIS, for agile development methodology. These are the people that are now defining, instead of focusing just on their agencies, they're doing that, but they're also taking the statewide leadership role of creating an enterprise strategy for the state of Illinois. And we don't forget SMAC. We cannot forget SMAC, cybersecurity. To me, social, we are working on that. Social is changing from putting information out to listening to what people are saying. So we are working on that. But to me, S right now for the state of Illinois stands for security. And Kirk is doing a fantastic job in creating an enterprise strategy. The key point there is how we are governing that. We have myself and Roger Heaton, our public safety director. We co-chair a group of leadership which includes the director of Illinois Emergency Management Agency, ISP, National Guards. These are the people that come together and think about and build the strategy that then Kirk goes on and executes and make sure that we are secure, our enterprise investment is secured against that. And cloud, I mean, we all expect ubiquitous access. We have a 22,000 square feet data center, which is underutilized. Simona, if you need to have DR center, we can do that for you. Carlton for City of Chicago. So we want to start utilizing, we are underutilizing the data center. At the same time, we don't want to stop the agencies from going to SaaS or cloud or to the public cloud. So we are building a hybrid cloud and a fabric that connects the public and the private cloud together so it becomes seamless. Step 2 is improving the business of the state using technology. I mean, this is where, again, we are so used to thinking inside out. We are so used to thinking, we are this agency, we provide this service. Now, who takes that service? We'll think about it, but that's not our topmost priority. We are trying to change that from inside out to outside in. So now we want to start thinking about much more person-centric. We want to also think about mobile as our topmost priority, is our primary platform. I mean, I'll tell you, my kids, 16 and 13 now, and those that have teenage kids, and even I think tween is also changing, have only 2 statuses. They're either sleeping or they're online. Right? So we don't have to build solutions for how we think. We need to think from the perspective of the next generation that is going to use this solution and build the solution for them. Because even my mom has an iPhone 6S at 70. So she's going to, it's changing, right? So we need to change our thinking also. We cannot keep building those same old solutions that we've been building for so long. So that's why mobile is our primary platform going forward, and then we'll bring it back to web and others. The other thing is we sit on petabytes and petabytes of data. But all of that data is sitting in siloed systems. All of that data have some lawyer sitting on that and saying, you cannot take this data out from this system to that system. You cannot cross-pollinate, share this data. But we have to evolve. We have to start thinking about how can we use this big data to make some decisions, to use that information for wisdom. And that's where analytics comes in, and we have a sustained effort. We also found a great leader, and this is what the public sector is about, because people want to contribute and people want to bring their ideas, their thoughts, their leadership. And we were lucky. Gopal, if you can stand up. Gopal Khanna. Gopal, Gopal and I knew when he was a CIO. He was the first CIO for the state of Minnesota. Gopal has also worked in the Bush White House as the CFO in the Office of the President and the CIO for the Peace Corps. So we were so fortunate to get Gopal leave Minnesota, come to Illinois to help us with our Health and Human Services, with the analytics, what we call the Health and Human Services Incubator for Innovation, HHS-I2. He leads that, and he's also working with, once we have the analytics set up, we are going to then expand that enterprise-wide. So we are focusing, while we fix our ERP systems, We are also focusing on SMAC, the social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. But again, this brings us to 2015. We are going to make this journey. By the time we finish the journey, we'll be in 2019. We cannot be just thinking about trying to catch up. We need to identify areas where we can leapfrog and stake a leadership claim. Because, most of the people outside Illinois think that, Illinois is not doing much. So I want to take that as an opportunity. And while they're all thinking we are not doing much, I want to stake a leadership claim. Where can I do that? I can do that by value creation using the Internet of Things. If I don't put my experience to use, if I don't put what's the greatest phenomenon right now around the world to create the GDP or create new value, that's what we are trying to do. We are looking at how we are going to create value. So there are 3 areas that we are looking. One is we have already started doing strategic planning. I have a baseline. Tollway Authority is doing fantastic as it comes to using sensors and videos and analytics. The IDOT is also, the Department of Transportation, is doing great too, working with all the 6 Midwest states for making sure that we know as a travelers how the road conditions are. They're already doing great, but we want to go beyond that. So we are doing strategic planning right now. We are going to go into the prioritized implementation. We are going to make sure that, again, solutions that we prioritize have an ROI associated with that, and it is the most high priority solution, high return solution that we can get for that. But at the same time, that is not enough. We also want to make sure that we have a talent pool, 21st century talent pool that is available for these kind of jobs, for making sure that they are working on these things, both outside the state government and inside the state government. Outside the state government, we have a great partner in DCEO, Esther's here, and Jim and Andrea are great partners at the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, and they are helping the state work with the private partners, create partnerships between private sector and the universities to start some of those 21st century curriculums that we need to make sure that our next generation is ready with. But at the same time, as we are making all of these investments, mainframe's not going away. We are making investment in SAP, and we are leapfrogging to IoT. So we are also defining and designing, working with the private sector, curriculums in the Springfield area, in the universities, in the Illinois Community College Board, so that our own workforce can get educated, can get reskilled in the technology that we are deploying. So that's basically how we are looking at making sure that we are working. But at the same time, I cannot let you guys escape. I need private sector. I need collaboration from private sector. Both for the Smarter Illinois, we need a lot of input that I'm going to reach out to you. So how can we become the smartest state? How can we finance these technologies? How can we prioritize these solutions? And so on and so forth. And on the other side, as we do the technology transformation, we are reaching out to the big corporate CEOs in Illinois who have already undergone the transformation journey to seek their input on how can we accelerate transformation. Lessons learned from them, best practices from them, but not only that, we also want access to their second-tier executives, CIOs, the CISOs, the chief data officers, CTOs, the talent managers, to make sure that we are working with them, we are learning from them, and we are accelerating the transformation that we want to make. I generally host a CIO council meeting every 2 months in Springfield. I've had 2 so far. My first guest speaker was Barney Harford, the CEO of Orbitz, who just got acquired by Expedia. And my second guest was Howard Tolman, 1871 CEO, who I heard was here in t-shirts, so I tried to compete with him at least in this. And Howard actually brought some entrepreneurs from 1871. So we work with those incubators that DCEO works closely with to vet this entrepreneurs that can come and present, and that could be the entrepreneur showcase. So with the private sector that we have in Illinois, I have no doubt that collaboration is going to be quite easy. So I firmly believe, and this is what the governor has told me, is technology is the engine for transformation. We have to make this journey of 45 years. We have to make this journey of 45 years in 4 years, because if we don't make a dent in the universe, what are we doing here? I mean, that's why we are here. We want to make Illinois the best place in the universe to live, work, learn, and play. And I am very fortunate once again that the governor gave me this opportunity and for your time and attention. Thank you. No questions from Cisco.
Not yet. This is from Jerry Rocco. Have you had the opportunity to observe a negotiation between... I should have probably read this in advance. I don't think this deals with technology, but I don't know that you want to share on that. Let's see if we have another question. And we might want it in writing also.
No, but I did not.
What's your biggest surprise so far? Great presentation.
Sure, thank you.
What's your biggest surprise so far? And what's the one thing you really need? Forget the budget, I know you can't answer on that, but what's the one thing you need more of?
Sure.
So the question is, what's your biggest surprise and what do you need more of? Is that a quick summary? I'm doing this for the video. Hardy.
So the biggest surprise is actually a pleasant surprise. Whatever you see from outside, I don't know what your impression is, but when I walked in and just within a few weeks, the amount of talent that I found inside the state government at the leadership level or even at the front office, frontline staff level was really pleasantly surprising. We have a tremendous pool of talent that really want to work, that have ideas, that have innovative thinking, but want to contribute, and they just need to be tapped so that we can do the transformation. So, Michael, my biggest surprise was a pleasant surprise. And what I need is more of those. I mean, I need both more innovative thinking, outside the box thinking, inside, as well as more people who want to come in and contribute, you know. Trey, you know, we need more of these people to come in and work with us, with the governor, to make that happen.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.